PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Hello and welcome to the show. This week on PACTV Community News, we take you to the opening of the Studio Kitchen at the Kingston Collection. We learn the history behind the location of a new restaurant in Pembroke, and we meet two grandmothers who launched their own TV show right here at PACTV.
PCN brings you holiday stories, a one-man show at the Adams Center in Kingston, and Duxbury's King Caesar House is all decorated for the holidays.
We head to Plymouth for the Plymouth COA Director's Retirement Party. Town Talk is from Duxbury, and we meet the founders of the Scarves in the Park program for the needy.
It's going to be a great show, and we begin at the Kingston Collection. If the Cooking Channel's ratings are any indication, people love cooking shows. I mean, the show Chopped already has about 20 spin-offs. But wouldn't it be cool to actually get to eat the incredible creations that the master chefs serve up? Well, there's a restaurant that is doing just that has moved in over to the Kingston Collection. And you can interact with the chef while she's cooking for you. We met up with her ourselves to bring you this story.
Essentially, Bar Rustic is a new age American restaurant. What we're doing is bringing city food to the South Shore. That's our main goal here. This is the Studio Kitchen, and I am host of what's known as the cooking show. Essentially, this was a dream, kind of a baby idea for Jim and Kathy Caffarelli, the owners. They decided to bring it to life a little over 10 years ago. I became part of the team 8 years ago in September, this past September. And we host the show. You sit down, you start with pizza, there's a wine pairing for the evening, you receive a mid-course and then an entree, and I demonstrate the entree from start to finish from scratch. I tell jokes, we drink wine, and we have a good time. So we decided to relocate from Boston to Kingston because of the huge influx of people moving down here. People are leaving the city, they're coming back down to the South Shore, coming to the South Shore for the first time. So we figured Kingston and being in the mall would be a perfect location for the restaurant as well as the studio. And there's nothing like it down here, so the market is just kind of open for us. It's fantastic. Friday nights we film. We'll run the same menu for 8 Fridays, so basically 2 months. And ideally what we'll do is we'll film 6 to 8 out of the 8 shows. We'll pick and piece together all of the best questions, the best looking people, the best people smiling, and the best food shots. When I say a funny joke, piece it all together and then make an episode for television. We also do small bites in here, as well as kitchen tips that go online. And the Studio Kitchen is incredibly versatile. And what we're trying to do down here is make it even more approachable to the public with cooking classes, cheese and wine classes, wine tastings, as well as adding a matinee show, hopefully on Saturday and Sunday, and then a Saturday night show. The restaurant itself actually supports the studio, so without the dollars out there, we don't have so many dollars to operate in here. So the restaurant was built around it basically for 2 reasons: to help fund the project that is Jim and Kathy's baby, and also you need a restaurant outside to produce all the food that's going to end up in here. So like all of the pies that people start with come off of our pizza station, our El Forno. And then of course all the entrees are prepared by our executive chef, Joe, out back in the kitchen with some of the kids. And then everything comes in here to serve the guests. First and foremost, the reason why I started doing the show was the fact that I like to educate people. And for me, this is kind of an escape. So I get to come in here, I get to hang out, I get to have fun with people who are intrigued by what we do. They want to learn how to cook. And I get to share my knowledge with them, as well as stories and tips, how to cut corners, how to be more efficient, how to clean while you work, simple things like that. And then of course, demonstrate, whatever they're eating that evening from scratch. And for me, that's what I hope they take away, is just the knowledge that I can provide them with for the rest of the evening, and maybe a couple of my jokes. I mean, they're pretty good.
Well, this is cool, and right in our backyard. This is something you'd expect to see in New York or LA.
I know, it's really cool. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if at our job we could just like eat food and drink wine and talk with people? I mean, really, that's the job she has. She's just got the best of both worlds going on.
Yeah, really, and she really obviously loves what she's doing.
I know, it's really beautiful.
Good luck to them. What a wonderful thing to have right here in Kingston.
What a great thing.
The nation's smallest highway has the new restaurant, and it's not a new building by any stretch. In fact, its history alone should get folks through the door. But in more of a local boy makes good kind of way, this next story features Bryantville native Dennis Dunphy, who, after enjoying a professional hockey career that took him as far as the Netherlands, has decided to open the doors to this local landmark. It's located at 300 Center Street in Pembroke, and if you can't find it, just look for the arrow.
An old landmark in Pembroke is getting a new lease on life, and if the name is any indication, things could be heading in the right direction. The new ownership group is hoping to turn this one-time distressed property into the kind of restaurant that anyone and everyone in town can come to. Having grown up here in town, owner Dennis Dunphy was familiar with the building's history.
As far back as I can remember as a kid, it was Lake Palace Restaurant. It was the Chinese restaurant on the water. It had the beads. A lot of parents would come before and after the hockey games. The Hobmock rink's right up the street. So we more or less said, hey, this could be cool.
Not only cool, but eclectic as well. As you enter, you see and hear the fountains in the foyer as a tribute to the Chinese restaurant that it used to be. On the wall, you'll find pictures of sports legends and movie stars, repurposed wood for many of the fixtures, a semi-wraparound bar with colorful 1950s Los Angeles-style bar seats. But even more interesting is the history of this property. It's located on Route 36, which is the shortest state highway in the country, and it was designated as such thanks to one former mayor of Boston.
Mayor Curley had a property on 106 and 36 in Halifax. From 106 and 36 in Halifax to Route 36 Pembroke Center is a very short distance. With some due diligence and some relatives of Mayor Curley himself, we came to the conclusion that there was a brothel upstairs at one time, and this was his playground. So naturally, he would want it plowed so he could come and hang out.
And because it was declared a state highway, it was the state's responsibility for plowing it. Paying homage to that history, they've built this wine cove, which leads to the spiral staircase that takes you up to where the brothel was.
It's now distressed, but it's still in place, the remnants of the madam's window where the keys were.
The hope now is that they can turn this former lakeside inn into a successful restaurant for years to come.
What we want to do here is we want to perfect the box we're in now. And when I say the box, it's a fashionable dive bar. It's a dive bar with high quality setting and high quality food with local produce, everything handmade. I feel that the dining experience has become more informal throughout the years, and that's what we want to capitalize on.
From Pembroke, I'm Brian Sullivan reporting for PCN.
Connie DeLago has been a part of the fabric of the Plymouth community with her role as the Director of Elder Affairs, but she has touched many other aspects as well. PACTV, Priscilla Beach Theater, the arts, and the Council on Aging organizations, to name a few. Connie has decided to retire, and PCN wanted to honor her with this story from her retirement party.
Today we are having a retirement party for the director of the Plymouth Council on Aging, also known as the Plymouth Center for Active Living. Her name is Connie DeLago, and she is a very special boss and a very special lady who has taken this place to new heights. We're going to miss her terribly. It's kind of a bittersweet thing for us because we're happy for her that she's retiring and all that she's accomplished. But at the same time, we're sad for us because she is the best boss ever. Connie started working for the Council on Aging about 6 months before I came back for my second time here. And I came back as the volunteer coordinator at the time. And I was brand new to the job and really didn't have any idea what it entailed to be a volunteer coordinator. And about a week after I started working, I was handed the volunteer luncheon, which was 2 weeks away, and told that I had to do centerpieces and order gifts and, you know, all the little things that are necessary for that party. And I am not a creative person at all, so I was like panicking. And she just very calmly came and helped me. She called a friend. She got an order of centerpieces for the table. She got decorations to decorate them with, and she helped me do them. And it was like instantly we became really close friends, and she got me through that whole volunteer luncheon, just helping me with all of that. She just has always, over the years, had my back. I love working for Connie because Connie cares so deeply for all of us and for all of the seniors in Plymouth. She built this place. We moved here with her help. She was the director that was involved in bringing us here. She treats us with such love and kindness. She expects certain things of us, and she knows what she wants for the seniors, and she expects us to be able to do that. But at the same time, she is so compassionate and caring for us as well as for all the seniors, and everybody loves her. When you meet Connie, you love Connie. I don't know anybody that's met her that doesn't. You know, and the staff and the Friends of the Council on Aging put this together for her because of how much she means to us. You know, this is not something that is done for every person that's leaving the town or anything like that. This is a very special thing that we're doing for her, and all of the community partners that she's had throughout the years are all coming tonight because of her.
It's called Two Grannies on the Road, and no, it's not a sequel to the movie from the 1980s. It's two ladies that decided long ago that age would never dictate whether or not they can keep chasing their dreams. Well, their message of never giving up on your dreams is geared towards members of the baby boomer generation. Their wisdom can apply to any age group. When they're not out on the road, they can be found here at PACTV with their own talk show, also known as Two Grannies on the Road. We caught up with these two very inspirational ladies after their show's first taping.
Two Grannies on the Road started about 6 years ago when I was kind of having a pity party for myself about never being able to take vacations because I was self-employed and, you know, didn't have the time or the funds. And I had always wanted to travel across the country in an RV with my kids. I never got to do that, and I was like, oh, poor me. And then I said, wait a second, I have my work is, I can do it anywhere. You know, maybe I could really combine work and play.
Beth and I have different jobs, but they're, I guess you would call them virtual jobs. I'm a graphic designer. She's a web designer. We can do it anywhere as long as we have an internet connection. And so that's how it really started, was the fact that we could actually travel and do work at the same time.
So the premise was to travel across the country and, you know, work at the same time and, you know, live our dreams. I think our main target audience is baby boomers who maybe they're feeling left behind, maybe they're starting to feel a little irrelevant in this world, and they need some inspiration. Maybe they've had a dream that they've always wanted to pursue, something they've always wanted to do, and they're starting to feel like they're too old to do it. And we want to say, no, it's never too late to live your dreams. So we tell the stories of other people who have reinvented themselves and to inspire everyone to really go for their dreams.
When we first started this, which was back in 2006, I think it was, we really pushed to get some sponsorship so that we could have, you know, the biggest dream is to have a camper that we can drive across the country and so forth, with big business helping us and so forth, and we've been struggling to get that sponsorship. So we're doing it a little bit at a time. People are underwriting this show that we're doing. That helps with defray the costs and so forth. And instead of a camper, maybe we'll just use our cars or Beth's van. You know, we're going to do it.
So I love this story, and I'll tell you a little anecdote about pitching this story to them. I was here later in the evening when I was like 5 or 6 o'clock, and they were in the editing suite editing. And I remember Kim had said, like, oh, I think those are the women that do that show about, you know, reinventing yourself. I'm like, oh my God, we should pitch the story to them. So I kind of snuck up on them one night in the editing studio, and I gave my pitch, and I said, I'd love to do a story on this. And they were really quiet at first. And then they said, of course we want to do it.
Sure.
And they were just so excited,
Yeah.
and just such a pleasure to work with.
Yep.
And I'm sure Brian had a blast shooting it. But like, what inspirational women.
Right.
It's
They're
just
lovely.
amazing.
They're really lovely people. And what they're trying to do is what a lot of people wish they had the guts to do. So I give them a heck of a lot of credit, and they'll get that van someday.
Absolutely. The holidays aren't officially here until they decorate the King Caesar House in Duxbury for the annual Christmas at King Caesar event. This year, the theme was the Grand Tour, and we did just that, as the volunteers from the Duxbury Rural and Historical Society were still decorating for the big reveal.
It's that time of year again. It seems that everywhere you look, there's some type of evergreen decoration hanging from whatever it is that you're looking at. And if you're in Duxbury, it all starts right here.
It's a surefire way to know that the holiday season is officially underway, because right now inside volunteers are decorating each of the rooms in preparation for the Christmas at King Caesar's, and they've got 1 week to get it done.
1 week to decorate a home of this size may cause some to hit the panic button, but not this crew. Every year there's a new theme for the decorating committee, and this year's is being called the Grand Tour, which will take visitors all over a virtual Europe.
You're seeing all of our volunteers very hard at work, unpacking tons of decorations, scheming in different ways of how they're going to hang things safely, of course, maintaining the integrity of our home, and just coming up with a different plans to transform these rooms into a magical Christmas space, and that ties in with our European theme.
The volunteers have a strategic approach to putting it all together, with a key factor being that they have fun in the process.
It's really a labor of love. It doesn't take that long. You just have to kind of plan it out, do some measuring. I've learned a lot of measuring is good, and it just comes out nice. Girls come a couple of days. Some girls can do it in 1 day. It just depends upon how intricate, how involved, and what country you got.
We stopped back later that week to see just how easy it was for the decorators, and found that they had exceeded our expectations, as every room was completed on time with exquisite detail. A sign that the folks involved not only knew what they were doing, but had fun doing it.
It's fun because it gives you a sense of community, and I love the historical homes. It's a lot of fun to come into the old houses and make them beautiful, and it really puts you in the Christmas spirit. So I think all the girls in there are really feeling the Christmas spirit.
For the Duxbury Rural and Historical Society, the Christmas at King Caesar's is always one of their biggest events of the year.
It's a great opportunity to get the most people into the house. The house is decorated. It kicks off the holiday season for a lot of our visitors, and the house is open for an extended period of time, and it's just a lot of fun. And I think that while we are looking forward to educating on our mission of history, and this year we have some great tie-ins, it's really about fun, and I think that's what brings people in.
Reporting from Duxbury, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
The Adams Center hosted a presentation of a one-man show of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. JT has been doing the show for 21 years and loves to perform it. PCN stopped in to check out all the excitement.
When he heard the chains.
Tonight we're doing a presentation of a one-man show about Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Dickens was very famous for doing annual readings of his work, A Christmas Carol, for family and friends, and he would take it on tour. So a number of years ago I decided I would try to do the same thing. I've been doing it for 21 years, so I have it pretty well memorized by now. The challenge is I have to take it out every year out of my brain and dust it off and get it ready. And I usually try to add small new pieces, change pieces, to keep it fresh for myself a little bit. So that, I think, is the biggest challenge. Coupled with that, I do a giant production of A Christmas Carol at the North Shore Music Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts. That production, where I play Fezziwig, has a cast of 30 people, fireworks, explosions, ghosts flying over the audience. Usually we get about 1,500 people in per performance. And so there's that big giant show, and then I go and do this one-man show at the same time. So sometimes adjusting the script in my brain is a little bit tricky. For me personally, it's one of the greatest stories ever. I think it's probably one of my favorite stories of redemption. And if we look at the arc of Ebenezer Scrooge, who goes from this horrible human being, mean-spirited, who's you know, like a lot of us, gone through many things in his life, been beaten up by a lot of things in his life, and then all of a sudden, in the course of an evening, in these visitations of memories, from his past, to have all that change and to become an entirely different human being is just such a great story. So I love it. I love it. I love telling it every single year. Having done it as long as I've been doing it, it doesn't take me nearly as long as it used to when I was first creating it. When I was first creating it, it took me a couple months to put it together and get used to it. And the first few years doing it and adjusting it, it would take me a few weeks anyway. Now I usually find I just have to brush it up maybe for 2 weeks before I actually present it. And it's funny, even after 21 years, I still come up to a line or a word and I'm like, what's that word? There's a word I'm missing here. So I have to go back to the original book and look it up and remember the parts and that sort of thing. But it certainly takes me a lot less time to prepare than it used to. So I love playing Charles Dickens every year. I love the vehicle of a one-man show. We tour throughout the country at different times of the year with other presentations. We've been here at the Adams Center a few months ago performing as Robert Frost. I tour as Benjamin Franklin, William Shakespeare, a few other characters. But I have to say, doing A Christmas Carol as Charles Dickens is indeed my favorite.
Paying out money for no work? It's only one.
As the weather turned cold this fall, 2 local realtors noticed a need in our communities. They saw people without hats or scarves and decided to take up a collection. The response was tremendous, but they needed a simple and easy way to get the items to the people in need. They founded Scarves in the Park, and PCN brings you this remarkable story.
This is called Scarves in the Park, and what it is something that I saw on TV that someone did in Manchester, New Hampshire. And what they did is they made hundreds of hats, scarves, mittens, sweaters, and then they hung them on a fence in Manchester, and anyone in need would come get them. So that's exactly what we decided to do. I, as a local realtor, and Kathy is a local realtor, and we work for 2 different companies, but we came together as friends, and we knew that we would be able to do this. We also had a friend who, less than 6 months ago, passed away, and he was a realtor with us. But his whole motto going through life was to give back. Going forward, give back. His name was Bill Flaherty. So because of that, Kathy and I felt that when this came up, we could absolutely do it, and it would be so much fun and worthwhile, and it wouldn't cost a lot of money, and our kids could be involved as our children are here today and our grandchildren are here today. And if there's any articles of clothing that are left, then we will do it again. It's at a point in my life that I feel very strongly about giving back. I'm so grateful for what for the things for my family, my children, my grandchildren, my husband, and so I can give back to the community. I can give back to people going forward. What inspired me to do this was a friend of ours, Kathy and mine, in real estate, and he died suddenly 6 months ago. But when we worked as realtors, Bill would always take every opportunity to give back. It was kind of like a mantra that he had. And I don't think at the time I totally understood what that was. And I know that when I was the age of my children and my grandchildren, I certainly wasn't giving a lot of thought to giving back to other people. But today, with Kathy, this is something that is easy to do. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love it. And hopefully, if people will see that they can do it too, then going forward, no one will be cold.
It means a lot to me. It warms my heart that we can bring Bill into it. And it's just something to give back, and it's something we can bring our families into as well, and teach our children and incorporate our spouses to do something good. I just hope that it does help some people that are in need.
Town Talk takes us to Duxbury Town Hall for a winter update.
Hi there, I'm Rainey Reed, the town manager for the town of Duxbury, and I wanted to provide our citizens and viewers with a couple of updates. First of all, I wanted to let people know that our mandatory water ban has been lifted. Earlier this summer, we were required to put in place a mandatory water ban because of the amount of water that had been used by our residents. Fortunately, the town of Duxbury didn't run into problems like some of our neighboring communities in that we have decent reserves. However, the drought this past summer caused a lot of concern for people doing lawn watering and other irrigation issues. But thankfully, the water ban was lifted this past Monday, which was November 28th. Also, I wanted to let people know that with regard to the FY18 budget, I'll be making my presentation to the Board of Selectmen on Monday, December 12th, which you'll be able to watch on TV, or you can attend the meeting. Also, the Finance Committee has been meeting for the past 3 or 4 months on Tuesdays and Thursdays to discuss the FY18 budget. Right now, we're in the process of wrapping up our departmental reviews, and they will be meeting once again as a group to go over the budget in the omnibus fashion, which means a line-by-line examination of each budget request from each of the departments. So they'll be starting their votes on those line items in the next week or so. The public is certainly welcome to attend. Their meetings occur at 7 o'clock at the Senior Center on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and you can check the town's website at www.town.duxbury.ma.us for a full complement of the schedules. Also, I wanted to let people know that the warrant is in the process of being developed. It will be closed. The warrant will be closed on December 12th, but we've given people probably 3 months' notice if they had articles that they wish to submit. There will be some interesting changes ahead and some things for the voters to consider in March. And most notably, a lot of changes to the zoning bylaw that are being proposed by the Planning Board and the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee, in addition to some general bylaw changes to address situations having to do with the marijuana moratorium that the town's contemplating. Indeed, the voters did vote to support the use of recreational marijuana, but the Board of Selectmen has decided that they would like to see if they can enact first a moratorium on the dispensaries so that we can have time to figure out how best to address our zoning bylaw changes that may need to be made should the town decide to have a prohibition in terms of the sale of marijuana here in Duxbury. While it did pass on a statewide level, it did not pass in Duxbury. So we'll be going over that in the coming weeks. So it's been a busy time. It's mostly about the budgets this time of year. But with that, I also wanted to wish all of our viewers happy holidays, and I hope you all have a safe and happy Christmas season and Hanukkah season as well. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching this week's show. PCN is on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or you can catch all our stories on our newly designed website, PACTV.org.
For the next 2 weeks, we'll bring you some PCN specials. On December 29th, we'll bring you our producer favorite episode, where our PCN producers pick a story that stood out to them from this year. And on January 5th, we'll have our top YouTube hits episode, bringing you the stories with the most hits on YouTube from 2016.
Happy holidays to you all, and we're back on January 12th with a new PCN and PCN Life episode. See you then.